Well, the Jets 86th their GM is what they did in this one. Not literally, but he's gone now. Joe Douglas. So before we get into the pick six, this is the big news. And we got the Chris Simms opinion and the take on what happened here. And we've, of course, talked about the Jets
every week.
It seems like every week. And Pete says every midweek there's some big news, a firing or a trade.
Pete literally almost didn't want to do it today because he was almost like, I'm just sick of writing stuff in the rundown about the Jets. We don't need to talk about it. But I do think it's relevant enough and a big enough story that we do got to hit on it.
All right, so what do you make of it? Joe Douglas done with the Jets.
I feel bad for Joe Douglas. I do. In the way of this right here, and you've heard me say this before, and I think all of my listeners and our listeners out there have heard this too. The product he put on the field, the players, all of that, I think Joe Douglas was really damn good in that department. Like, I certainly don't look at the Jets. I don't think most people in football look at the Jets and they go, oh, wow, they just don't have enough talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't. No, there's talent there. There's big-time talent. I've been a fan of what he's done with the roster from the very get-go. Okay, the Zach Wilson pick didn't work out well. There's a whole lot of other picks and free agent signings that did work out. You talk to, again, anybody in football, they're going to tell you, hey, the Jets is one of the better rosters in football. Where did it go wrong? Okay, well, this is where, to me, where it goes wrong. It's not his ability to build a team or evaluate players and pick the right players for the team. To me, his evaluation of coaches was really the thing that ultimately gets him fired, right? Robert Saleh, how that went down, that was part of also, I think, the failure of Zach Wilson. We got a defensive coach, right, who's first-time defensive coach. He knows nothing about bringing along a young rookie quarterback and making that work, right? It also didn't have the support system on the offensive side of the ball to make it work there either. So I think that's where I look at it more than anything is, and then you can get into Aaron Rodgers, certainly, right? And dive into that a little bit and go, hey, was that a mistake? Yes, as we sit here and look at it now, it's a mistake. But again, it wasn't a mistake when they were first acquiring him. Mm-hmm. I think where the mistake is, again, and this is where it goes back to the coaching a little bit, is you got another good player, but he got to come here and be the king. And being the king never works on a football team. It just doesn't. It doesn't matter who you are, right? Peyton Manning was the most king guy I've ever seen, and even he wasn't the king, right? He had a good way of being like, I'm the sheriff, but I'm not the king.
Tom Brady in New England, not the king.
Exactly right.
Tom Brady even in Tampa.
Exactly right. We know he's high up in the hierarchy, but he's not king. This became, I'm king, I want to do this, we want to do this, I want this offensive coordinator, I want that, blah, 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 and the whole team. So now you have coaching problems, let alone you let a player now kind of run the coaches on top of that.
Right.
And it changed everything. So to me, that's probably where I would look at it, and I do feel bad for Joe Douglas. And, of course, things spiraled out of control here, not necessarily all because of him, too. I do sit here and still go, I don't think the Jets would be as bad as they are right now if they didn't fire Robert Saleh. I think that was the first part of this just absolute disaster of a season here. We know it wasn't good there, but it started to tank and go downhill in a hurry after that. At least Saleh had leadership energy skills in the building that I think would have held the team together and made them fight more than what we see right now, if that makes sense.
What do you make of the report? I think it's in The Athletic first. That Woody was asking them to bench Aaron Rodgers after week 4.
Well, yes. There's a lot there, and Woody seems to be a little bit, quick to make rash decisions or things or thoughts like that. Mm-hmm. I think that's a little ridiculous. We were kind of laughing before the pod because like 10 days before that, the Jets fandom, Jets world was like, that Patriots game with Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback performance. He knows the defense before the defense knows the defense, right? I mean, that's all everybody could talk about here in the tri-state area. Rodgers, have you ever seen anything like that? Right, that's all we heard. And then 10 days later, bad weather day, one of the best defenses in football, they lose, bench him. No, that means you're being a little too... What's the word I'm looking for? Just spur of the moment. Reactionary. Yes, a man of the moment. Too much that way. I don't love to hear that. And I was going to say something, and that would be also another part of this with the Joe Douglas and the Saleh thing. You talk to people around the Jets, right? These people were hired really with Christopher Johnson, and then Woody got back in the fold. And as it looks, and I think if you talk to people that are with the Jets or were with the Jets, they feel like the whole dynamic of everything changed when Woody got back from the UK and the ambassador and all that, and that kind of changed things within the organization too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there. I feel bad for Joe Douglas.
He's
though,
way more
bottom line.
involved. Woody's way more involved than anyone.
Well, I'm
that
sure
is
he's
not
feeling
there.
the pressure now. He's putting money up. He wants it to succeed. He's getting older. He's sick of hearing people talk about the negative aspects of the Jets all the time. And I think because of that, that's making him maybe overthink, too quick to make judgment like we talked about. And that's led to make things worse, right? Then instead of trying to make them better, and we'll see where they go from here.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.